Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. How you doing today? It is Wednesday, and you know what that means. We have the legendary Matt, the mortgage guy, on the show. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good, Mike. Trying to live up to that legendary title.
Oh, you do, man. People that follow you are part of the channel. People in California coming to you, they have great things to say. So I want to thank you for supporting the one rental at a time community, whether they're in California or not. All the feedback I've gotten from you or about you or your team has been amazing. So thank you very much.
We're trying our best. I know we can't please everybody, and sometimes I give people answers they don't want to hear.
Yeah,
but trying our best.
Yeah, I can't promise yes answers, but I can promise quick answers, and that's often enough. So before I remiss, if you're in California, you're paying PMI, you bought 2 years ago, any of those things, you need to be reaching out to Matt, the mortgage guy. How do you want them to do that?
Just shoot me an email if you're in California, matt@mattthemortgageguy.com. And I get a ton of inquiries. A lot of time I'm thinking about a HELOC or a cash out refinance. Just give me information about your scenario and I can look at it and respond to you. Cause a lot of times it has nothing to do with doing business with me. It's just a matter of like, from your opinion, from your point of view, what do you think about this scenario? And one thing I'll say quickly is that a lot of people who get excited because there's all this buzz about refinance and rates are low. The lower your mortgage balance is, the less likely doing a refinance is going to pencil for you.
Yeah.
So anybody out there who's got a $75,000 balance, $82,000 balance, in general, you just don't pay fees to refinance that small of a loan unless it's worth 700 and you're going to pull 200 out and use that to deploy somewhere else.
Right.
But in the case of like a rate and term refinance, even going from like 4 to 2.5, when I start doing the math on that, and somebody's trying to pay it off in 15 years and they've got 21 left, I'm like, just take the money that you would spend on a refi, just plop it towards principal and just, put the pedal to the metal if paying it off is the goal.
If that's your stated goal. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, hey, one of the things I want to do in this video is talk about myths of being a mortgage broker. I think there's a lot of myths out there. You're in the business, clearly a professional. So why don't you talk about some of the myths that you see that, other just innocent bystanders might think and that are actually not true.
Right. And this is something I get so often, Mike, and it's from other folks in the mortgage industry who haven't ever been on the broker side and in the wholesale channel, or it's consumers who have heard something from somebody, in a lot of cases got bad information for whatever reason about, in the mortgage broker world, they've got less control. And where I see this the most, to be completely honest, is direct lenders. And for clarification, a direct lender is somebody who works for a mortgage company, and that's the mortgage bank they send all their deals to. And so they're just direct. And kudos to them. Everybody has their own marketing scheme. But to say like, hey, we're a direct lender, we have in-house this, in-house that, more control, is kind of a myth. And so they're perpetuating this myth about the mortgage broker, where if somebody's a mortgage broker, they don't have as much control, because they've got a third party that they're brokering to. And, our underwriters are all in one building and all in one company, whatever the case may be. Right. I probably thought that, Mike, when I was in direct lending, and I probably bought into some of the stuff that upper management was telling me, because they don't want you to leave. Right?
Exactly.
And, so what I will say to clear it up for people is that if I broker a loan to United Wholesale Mortgage, I can call, I can email, I have direct contact with the underwriter. And there's more transparency, in my opinion. There's more direct control and contact with everybody who's involved in the process. And it's not true with every wholesale lender, right? I might send stuff, and I had this conversation with somebody earlier today where as a broker, I might feel like I have a little less control if I send a 580 credit score to Carrington, or if I send it to a lender that is not as big, not as familiar, hasn't maybe in that case. But for the most part, some of these really big wholesale lenders have built great systems for brokers. The United Wholesale Mortgages, the Home Point, the Caliber, the Remen, like those lenders have systems and processes that are, one, super dialed in, but two, super transparent, where I don't have any less control. I probably have more. And, I don't necessarily have to build my building up or crush other buildings to make my building look tall. But, you know, it's funny. It's always the battle between banks and direct lenders versus brokers. And brokers are saying, you know, we're cheaper, we're faster, we're better. And banks are saying, but we've got more control. And, you know, my underwriting and processing is all in-house and right here. So I don't want to do that. I just don't want to give people bad information.
Right.
And, you know, especially when it comes from somebody who's in the lending industry, some of them honestly believe it. And so when they say it believing it themselves. And then consumer hears it and goes, oh, that's why I'm working with a direct lender, because he's got more control.
Yeah.
It's not true.
Not true. There's a couple of things I've seen, right? Because I've been doing this 20 years and mortgages are the biggest part of my business, right? It's the biggest expense, all of that on all my properties. If you are a kind of ideal high net worth individual, a direct lender, a bank will take great care of you, because to them, that's almost a loss leader, right? They're going to give the best rates, lowest terms. It's I don't know, streamline, I guess is a word I would use. If you're then the top 1% of a bank's depositors, you're going to be taken care of, my opinion. The other 99% of us, which I include myself in, going to a mortgage broker is generally speaking going to give you more options. They're going to be more creative, right? Because a direct lender, they have their one buy box. When you go to a mortgage broker, in theory, you can have 5, 6, 7, 8 different buy boxes, right? This one may say yes, this one may say no. I've seen greater flexibility in mortgage brokers than direct lending, in my opinion.
Right. And as some of these wholesalers like United Wholesale Mortgage have grown to be huge, they've created, you know, economies of scale where they're doing cheaper MI. You know, their conventional stuff for those like, you know, perfect loans like you talked about, those are even better. And, you know, I don't want to sit here and, you know, have a pitch for mortgage brokers, but if you think about it, Matt, the mortgage guy, as a mortgage broker, brokering something to United Wholesale Mortgage, I don't have costs like a branch manager, a regional manager, all this stuff, right? A brick and mortar building.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the truth that, you know, the retail lenders have these costs. Those costs get passed on to the consumer. I don't care what you say. And I mean, I've got great friends who do a great job and they work in retail, but they're charging a quarter higher on the rate. And that's just what it is. There's internal costs that gets baked in. And so
somebody's got to pay the overhead.
Right. And so, yeah, I just hear it so often. I'm just like, stop with that, with that less control stuff. It's just not true.
Yeah. What I would tell you, again, people in my course and all of that, students, part of your networking needs to be with mortgage brokers, right? You can go ahead and talk to your local bank. They have your money. You have a relationship, but make sure you talk to a mortgage broker, because mortgage brokers have bailed me out a couple of times. Banks sometimes get loose or easy. Banks sometimes get tight. I think we're currently into a tightening period. So your bank may have said yes 2 months ago. Maybe they'll say no in 2 months. And if you don't have a mortgage broker, that deal you just found could disappear if you can't close. And
something else I hear too, something important for people to know, is that the broker world has changed the last decade, the last 15 years, light years. And so I'll talk to friends of mine that were brokering loans in 05, 06, 07. Obviously, lending products are different, but even the whole landscape of the broker world is different, because there's been companies like UWM who have elevated the whole broker channel. Everybody is competing to do what they're doing when it comes to technology, when it comes to serving brokers. And so just the whole experience for a mortgage broker and everything that they've done with systems and speed and technology is not even close to what it was even 5 years ago. Even 5 years ago, it was, you know, the Stone Ages compared to today with everything that's going on in the broker world. So that's the unfortunate thing too, is sometimes I talk to people and they're like, oh yeah, brokering is this and brokering is that. And I was a broker, so I know. When were you a broker? 2013. Okay. It's changed a little bit, just a little bit.
Yeah. The last 8 years has seen some innovation and some big players setting new standards. So again, folks, if you're in California, you bought a couple of years ago, if you're paying PMI, oof, do yourself a favor, reach out to Matt, the mortgage guy. And again, you have an amazing YouTube channel. Want to tell them what that is?
Yeah. Come on over to Matt, the mortgage guy. I think we got 7,000 subscribers now. What I've been trying to do more of is encourage people to leave comments in the comments, because that creates really good conversation. Another cool thing that I've created is Mondays at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I go live. I do a Q&A for 2 hours. And I remember my plan was 1 hour, and I've literally done 2 hours every Monday, Mike, because I
Wow.
enjoy the heck out of it.
Yeah.
And people are asking questions, refreshes my memory. It keeps me sharp. I take notes every week. There's a couple questions I can't answer. I'm like, okay, let me get back to you. I'm going to learn something from this. But besides me answering questions, there's people in the comments that say, when it comes to that, here's what I did in your scenario. And we're talking about mortgage. We're talking about the housing market, talking about investing, and people are giving each other advice. I'm giving other people advice. Undoubtedly, like, people are learning. And it's
That's awesome.
just, it's really, really cool. So my goal is in the next few months to continue to grow that. I think we had like 65-ish people on at one point on Monday, and it's just
That's
fun.
awesome.
It's just fun.
That's awesome. Well, thank you very much for being a part of this channel's weekly expert series. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day.
Yep. You too, Mike.
Thanks.